put his hands up and turned around, and he thought he'd be shot. And there came the German tank that had just killed all of his friends. He was waiting to be executed. Well, the turret of the Nazi tank opened up, and the Nazi officer looked down at him. And for a long few seconds, he didn't know if he was going to live or die. Finally, the German officer waved for the Brit to come aboard the tank. He came aboard the tank, and he spent the rest of his war years in a German POW camp. And then this British officer said, "We were empty." The point of the story is this. There was less hatred between the warring factions in World War II, at least in this desert campaign, than there is now between the radical vermin on the left, the Antifa, BLM terrorists, CNN, MSNBC, and the average American. The hatred from the vermin on the left in America today is out of control. It was stirred up by the hater-in-chief Barry Obama and the Democrat hate machine before this country descends into flames. And that is why on my Twitter feed today I asked a simple question. You ready for the question? Because it's an important one. I read this morning that Antifa and leftists were rioting in Phoenix last night, and CNN blamed Trump's angry, divisive speech. I had enough. To stirring up hatred, there has to be a limit. To stirring up hatred, there has to be a limit. To stirring up riots, there has to be a limit. To Zucker, there has to be a limit to Zucker. And the government has the power to close him down and put him in jail. Enemies without enmity. We can disagree angrily without hatred. But if CNN and MSNBC are not stopped, if Phil Griffin is not pulled off the stage by the federal government, and he is told in no uncertain terms that if he does not stop the sneering vermin on his channel from stirring up Antifa and Black Lives Matter, and anyone loses their life because of them, he is going to be held responsible. A very strange point in America. We can be enemies of opinion without descending into enmity. And as I told you at the beginning of this monologue, even the Brits and the Nazis in World War II apparently had less hatred for each other than does the Black Lives Matter and Antifa vermin in the streets. Enemies without enmity. So last night's speech, again, if it was a movie, it would have had one weekend. They would diatribe off the rails. It's really a sad day in America, I got to tell you. The country's descended into a sewer. Just a cesspool. There are no ideas anywhere. See, Fox News, look at the IQ level. These are people who couldn't do anything else in life. Look at them. Take a look on the left. You start with Andy Cooper. Like he had an IQ over 100. Andy Cooper comes from the Vanderbilts on one side of his family, I think the mother. They own slaves. I think Andy Cooper should wear a sign on his chest which says, "I apologize for slave ownership," and be forced to wear a dunce cap and bend forward. How about Wolfie Blinker Blitzer, who makes believe he's a nice guy? Dunce cap sign, "I apologize to America for stirring up hatred." And then there's the Woodpecker, the Fox News, a once great channel. What did it become now? They got rid of O'Reilly, they got rid of another guy, then another guy, then they got rid of someone behind the scenes. Anyone who had any fortitude they got rid of. All I see are shoes and legs. I see nothing but shoes and legs. It's the 3 on Comcast. RT, they have some of these women are so smart. They speak 6 languages. And if you listen to them, you actually learn something and hear something. Here you hear nothing and learn nothing. A soft military coup. Yeah, I mean, there's been a soft military coup in my mind. One war now brewing against North Korea, that's General 1. Another war brewing against, let us see, Russia in Ukraine invasion of Venezuela, that's 4. So each general gets his own war. I mean, like the ships were hacked. But no one listens to Michael Savage. Can anyone listening to this show tell me what victory will look